All right, good morning. It's John McLaughlin. Sorry, we're a little bit late. We're 4 minutes late because I had some computer problems. Anyway, we're here doing the Crossfire strategy. It's just gone 6 a.m. in the morning in the UK, and let's get going. So on the charts right now, you can see Euro odd, Euro NZD, GBP odd, and GBP NZD. So if this is the first time you've seen any of my sessions, go to the card up there. What that's going to do is going to give you access to my course, okay, and it's a free course on the playlist, and you can get access to it and just go through the specifics of the strategy, and it makes it a little bit easier to follow along. Okay, so go and have a look at that right now. Of course, if this is the first time you visit the channel, hit the subscribe button and give it a like as well, because it helps more than you know, okay, to put content like this together for free. Right, so here we go. So let's have a quick look at see what's got. So on the 15-minute time frame on Euro Australian dollar, when it wants our, what are we on now, 6 o'clock. There's our 6 a.m. candle. I'm just going to take off this area of imbalance here, put a couple of trend lines on in readiness for 6:15 a.m. and just change that colour. So I'll put all these on first. If you're familiar with the strategy, you'll know what I'm doing. If you're not familiar, then probably best to go and have a look at that course, because it will set you up in the right way. So I'm going to put that line on the 6 a.m. and a couple of trend lines on the chart. Make that one green. There we go. Okay, what have we got so far? It was 15 minute, that's good. Okay. GBP AUD. So we're going to do the same for all 4 pairs. Just put the trend lines on, just get them ready. Then what I'll do once I get them on, I'll tell you the kind of specifics of the strategy and walk you through. All right, all these bars here, these are previous areas of imbalance which have all been mitigated. I'm not quite sure if that one has. Yes, it has. Right, okay, so let's again I'll just try and take as many lines as possible. I usually trade the 1 p.m. session, so most of the lines that you see on this chart right now have all kind of expired. So a quick look at the news. What we've got this morning, we've got a little bit of news here on the euro, okay, but a lot of news on the GBP, the British pound, and particularly at 7 o'clock. Got some high impact news, and I've also got some medium impact news. Okay, inflation rates, essentially it's kind of an inflation rate news hike there. So again, what we're going to be looking at doing, making sure that we're mindful at 7 o'clock, which is less than an hour now, because there will be some price action going on, or some manipulation of the price, shall we say, and that's what happens. So quite a lot of GBP, a bit more euro news at 8 o'clock. A lot of Euro news, 8 o'clock. So it's going to be an interesting day, okay, or an interesting morning. So, so let's see what the price has done. So you can see this big. I'll try and take as many lines off as possible because these are my previous areas of interest. So a big spike here. What was that? Was that 1330? 1330 yesterday, typically news, okay, and what happens is the big banks, I mean, look at that, you got a big move in one direction, and that is a typical manipulation move, okay, because what you've got this area here of consolidation, this area here, okay, and what the banks will know, and the financial institutions, big pension funds, that sort of thing, they will see, or the banks anyway, will see the stop losses up here and stop losses down here. Okay, let me take this out. So when the news kicks in, people can go, okay, I'm gonna hedge my bets. Okay, I'm gonna go and buy and a sell. Okay, or some people are going to buy, or some people are going to sell. But either way, they'll have stop losses up here and stop losses down there. So what's happened is they've booted the price down, okay, and taken out the stop losses, and then pushed the price straight back up again take out these stop losses to liquidate the market for themselves. So it's a typical move that you see, and you know, if you know what's going to happen, then you can prepare for it. But ultimately, some people will have lost. Okay, and that move yesterday, 13.30, 98 pips. Okay, this is a 15-minute time frame, so we're looking at probably less than an hour and a half. Okay, for that move, huge move. Okay, but it goes against the normal vein of the strategy, so it becomes unpredictable and volatile. So we want to be staying out that sort of thing. So yeah, what we've got this big push. We've kind of gone sideways pretty much, and we're starting to come down. What was it? We've come down to the pivot. Okay, pivot again, an area of interest, and also the 200 moving average. So it's what's going to happen at the pivot. The price is either going to bounce or break, but we need to put our trend lines on first at 6:15. I need some bigger glasses. I struggle to look at that. Spending too much time behind the charts. Right. So again, very similar pattern here. 13.30 yesterday. Manipulation pushed it up. Okay, and you can see, I mean, like that 100 pip move. Okay, and you know that to move 1 pip in a direction is around $10 million. Okay, so you can see there's, you know, if you say that 100 million is a billion. Okay, I mean, I always think it should be 1,000 million, but anyway, it's 100 million in some cases. So you know, $1 billion move in like an hour and a half. So when you consider that, you know, with the Forex markets, the turnover of revenue is around 6 trillion every single day. Okay, it's just astronomical, the numbers involved. So very similar for that one. GA. Well, again, 13.30 yesterday. Big move, big push. That looks even bigger, to be fair. That move here. Yeah, it is bigger. Look at that, 142 pips. Which actually, you know what? That actually gets me quite excited, because for the past number of weeks, there's been not a lot of volume. We haven't really seen lots of pushes like this. I know it's manipulation, but you know, we haven't seen great big pushes, and it gets me fired up when I see that, because I know there's going to be scope for us to profit further. You know, after I talk about the new year, and we talk about, you know, all the different days we've had, and literally we're like, you know, a month and a half away from New Year, and yet the markets have still just getting up to speed now. It's amazing. Usually 15th of January it's all finished. Right, GBP NZD, again, very similar situation here. 13.30 manipulation pushed up, not quite as big as the previous one, but a good move all the same, and a lot of dollars been put in there. So we're going to wait 3 minutes. Just have a quick look at Forex Factory as well. So we get news items from MyFX Book. So I prefer MyFX Book because it's a lot more detailed. Forex Factory, they have a different take on it, but essentially it pales into insignificance really compared with MyFX Book. So, but you can have a look at it. It's sensible to have a look. It doesn't mention anything previously other than 7 o'clock, where we've got the high impact on GBP. So yeah, that's that. The other thing we can do as well is we're looking for areas excuse me, of imbalance. So we can see with this manipulation here, we've got imbalance. We've got imbalance here, from there, we've got imbalance here. My apologies. So we've got a fair bit of imbalance. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off all the noise. Might not quite have enough time to do this. We'll put that to there. Click on my cogwheel. Click on imbalance and OK. Right, that's gone. So we've got, that's it really for the imbalance. Yeah, that's it. So you can see there where that peaked up to there. Okay, that's where price pretty much has gone now. So it's gone through it, and it's now at the pivot. So when it goes to the pivot, it's either going to bounce or break. Okay, so it's only going to come down and bounce off, which looks like it might be doing. But again, we'll just have to give it a few minutes. So we've got, what are we on now? 16:14. So 15 seconds. I might as well put them on now. So here's what we're going to do. Okay, so from here we can see there's the wick looking for the higher candle next to it, left, which is this one. So I'm going to put the magnet tool on. There we go. That's that, and that's going to come down to the top of the wick. That's it. And the lower low from here, well, the low's there, so there might not be a low. There isn't. So that's the start of the session. So what we're going to do is we are going to bring that onto the wick. We're going to hit our mouse and shift. Puts it level. That's it. So back on the 2-minute time frame. Put your indicators back on and take the magnet tool off. So we'll just make that a bit bigger. There we go. Right, we're ready. Tell them we are ready. Okay, Euro NZD. So this candle here is our 6 AM. So same sort of thing. Magnet tool on. Onto there. Down to wicks just there, look. And we've got this looks like it's going to be a similar situation where it's going to be level. Yep. So a mouse first, then shift. Puts it on level for you. 2-minute time frame. And magnet tool off. Just make this a bit bigger. There we go. Alright. GA. Magnet high. The higher candle next to it left is this red one, right next to it, just there. And again, you put your magnet tool on, you get a nice snap effect. Okay, and it's easier. The lower low, it looks like it's going to be the level one. Yeah, it's going to be level again. There we go. 2 minutes onto that. To there, and we'll just wait and see. Right. That's wrong. That's right. Wrong trend line. And the lower low is the same look. It's going to be a level one. Two-minute time frame, and the indicators are on. That's good. Yeah, it's a weird looking one. Right, okay, so Euro odd. Let's have a look at that. So let's do some analysis. What have we got? Okay, well, when we're between the green trend line and the red trend line, this area, okay, is what I call, or what is affectionately known as no man's land. Okay, so essentially we look at it and we go, it's in no man's land. We're not even interested in looking. Okay, that's it. That's it. So we'll come back. Euro NZD, same situation. In between this area here, no man's land. GBP, okay, just starting to come down below. Okay, so that's kind of piquing our interest. However, what we've got to consider, first thing we've got to consider is this little glaring piece of news at 7 o'clock. So we've got a while yet. However, just because the price has come down below the red trend line doesn't mean we should jump in. There's other things we need to look at. So first of all, is this trend line is going to be an area, it's currently in an area of resistance, okay, and because it's resistance, or it is resistance because it's touching the line. Now if that continues to go down, bearing in mind on this time frame we've got 36 seconds left, what we want is for price to form a new candle below that trend line. Okay, so that gives me an additional confirmation that it's come out of resistance and it's now in support. So in terms of the wave candle, we're in a wave down. Okay, so we've got all this movement which is in the waves. However, if you look at the PSAR, the PSAR is a parabolic stop and reverse, that's getting smaller, and the distance between the PSAR and the candle, as you can see, is getting a lot smaller, okay, which isn't great. It's not a great sign for us. So it's open below, which is okay. If you look at the Wadaratar, what we're looking for with the Wadaratar is we want the explosion line, this white line, to be outside of this dead zone. This dead zone is kind of like zero volume, nothing's really happening, it's all a bit stagnant, a bit nasty, you want to stay out of it. Okay, so it means there's not enough volume, and that currently it's in the dead zone. And also you can see the histogram right from, I don't know, right from about 520. There's no real volume in this yet. Okay, so we're not even going to look at this because we're in the dead zone. Even though it's come past the trend line, the likelihood is when you've got little peaks of volume like this, it's going to end up going back or just bouncing across all the way. Okay, so there's not quite enough in there. In terms of the moving averages, we've got the white one here, which is the 5, the 13, the 62 and the 200. So they are in order, that's good. Okay, however, and they are pointing down. Okay, so that is giving us a bit more of a confirmation, but it's the Wadaratar in this case that's going to keep us out. Just one thing you want to look at as well is, okay, if everything lined up and all the probability stacks were in our favour for a sell, where could you take a sell to? Like essentially, where would you go to? So you go and look to the left. Okay, see, it's going now, isn't it? Anyway, it can do what it wants. I tell you something else. You see all this? See this move? Okay, and you can see how it's like a little dangly carrot. Okay, why could that be happening? What could be happening there? Because the Wadaratar is saying, well, there's not been much in the way of movement, and he's still in the dead zone, the explosion line. This could be a little teaser from our friend the banks, okay, saying go on retail traders, put your $500 in, because when it comes to the news, we're going to take it all up, okay, and that's what does happen. As I've shown you previously yesterday at 13.30, when the price went significantly down, to take out those stop losses and then back up again. Okay, so you've got to be mindful of this. This is sometimes what we call a fake out. Okay, and it's designed to try and catch you out. So you've got to be mindful of that. Anyway, looking at previous price action, what have we got? Okay, we'd look at these areas here because that's where price is right now, and say where could price possibly go to? You know, what would be the possible price? And we can look at this, we can mark it out, and we can see, you know, what's going to happen. So this area here, let's have a look. Just do it quick. Look. So this area here, look, where I've got the mouse, we've got lots of taps, but we're looking for potential sells, even though it's reversing back again. So this area has got lots of peaks or lots of hits. Okay, so we did just put a line on, look. Okay, so where's it hit? Oh, look at that. It's hit there perfectly. It's hit almost there. Gone through this one. It's hit there perfectly and there. Okay, so that could be an area of interest, but if you see this line here, this is where price is right now. It's like 1 pip away, so it's not enough. So we want to be looking for maybe an area a little bit lower. Okay, so somewhere around here. Okay, all these taps, look. So it's tapped it there. Maybe a little bit lower, a bit lower yet. Somewhere around there. You know. So it's what you do. You look at the areas of interest, and when you get more of a responsive hit, when you go, wow, look at that. It's hit it all them times. That's where you could say, okay, possibly we can go for that. But at the moment, as I said, we're not going to be tempted in it, I don't think. Now we start to move away from the dead zone, and we're starting to get a little bit more, you know, excuse me. Let's look at the rest of the pairs. Yeah, 7.6 pips. That that area of interest. Let's have a look at GBP and excuse me. Sorry, been struggling with a cough for ages. So GBP NZD is currently in no man's land. So again, we're not even going to look at that. So GBP odd, sorry, Euro odd. It's kind of similar. We've got a little bit of volume there. The explosion line is outside of the dead zone, but we're still, I would say, we're still in resistance. So there's still too much attraction for this trend line. So again, we'll come back to that. Euro NZD, no man's land. GBP odd. Yeah, I'm not keen on this at all. It's not good. I know what I used to do when I first started this strategy was, okay, I'd go, well, look, you're losing pips, because the strategy says if you go below the red trend line, you get in. Okay, well, it's not necessarily true. Okay, because what you've got to do is you've got to weigh up everything, weigh up all the different pieces of evidence. What's happening? We've got the news. I mean, really, look at the Wadarata. It's kind of gone back. The histogram, these bars, okay, when the bars go a lighter red, okay, it means it's getting weaker, and obviously the darker red is more strength, but yeah, we're going to stay out of this. Right, sounds like this. I think it's time for a little musical interlude. So this is a Euro odd, and you can see how it's come back to the trend line, and it's also well, it's still straddling the trend line. Almost zero volume, and generally what will happen is when you get high impact news, we've got coming at 7 o'clock, you'll generally find that the price may well just consolidate, just go sideways all the way to the news. So here's the news. So you might find that it'll maybe bounce up, bounce down, do a bit of a thing. Yeah, we might get this sort of thing where it fakes out, but I'm not going to be tempted in. So that's 3.4 pips. And when you look at a trade and you think, okay, I can get into this trade, I could make some profits. Always consider if there's legs in it. Okay, that's what I always say. Is there legs in this? And you've got to be able to make profits. And you've also got to, if you look at your broker spread. So broker spread, I mean, if you look at your MT4s, your MT5s, from your broker, you'll see what the spread is. They'll tell you. Okay, so let's say it's 1 or 2 pips. Okay, now if we got into this trade and currently the broker spread is 2 pips, okay, we'd be up like maybe 0.6 of a pip or thereabouts, depending on what the broker spread was. So again, when you're looking at trades, you've got to say where could the trade potentially go to, and is there enough volume to make a profit? Okay, and with this strategy, what we're looking at doing is doing a 1-to-2 ratio, a risk to reward. Okay, so I'm not interested in pips. However, when you're looking at where price may well go to, obviously that's where you look at. But I'm looking for a 1-to-2 ratio, and that is really important. I always go from I used to work on pips, but now the pip value is irrelevant when it comes to the actual percentage gains. First and foremost, think about protecting your account, and the profits come as a result of that. So that's the first thing I'm going to be doing, making sure you're protecting your account in the right way. I mean, this may well go down. This may well go down. We could have maybe got some pips out of this, but it's too narrow, and it doesn't really inspire me with confidence. And when you're doing a trade, what you want when you trade is you don't want to be taking any trade. You want to be taking really great trades. Okay. So you don't want to be sat at the screen going, well, it's a little bit narrow, but it's 6:30 and I need to get my trade in today. Okay, if that's what you're thinking, then pick a different strategy, because you don't want to be put under any duress or stress when you're trading, because you'll lose, and the market doesn't care. Market don't care if you lose your entire lottery winnings. Okay, thanks very much, but you failed. Goodbye. Okay, that's it. It's a cold place. So you got to know what you're doing. So managing your account is number one. So if we were to take a trade on this, let's have a look. We hit the short, okay, and what we're looking at there is this engulfing candle. Okay, they're generally the straightforward Forex indicator is it gives us areas of potential stop losses. So that is 4.4 pips. Now 4.4 on this strategy is quite low. However, because it's a bit not a great trading day or not a great trading hour at the moment, bring this down to 1 to 2. There we go, something like that. There we go, 1 to 2. Okay, so if we put a line, or if we go back, okay, then we'd put a line across, and we look at this area here and go, where could price potentially go to? And the reason I would stay out of this trade is because it just doesn't have the legs. It just doesn't have the volume. There's not enough on the WADA. It's not a great trade. But you would look at this and go, okay, where's the areas of interest? But for me, there's too many obstacles, and I'll leave it on there. Yeah, there's too many obstacles for me. I don't like it. And it's quite early as well. 6:31. We've still got the Asian sessions still open at 7 o'clock. All the other markets open. I mean, this could go down to to our take profit level, but again, the way I see a trade like this, okay, is everyone is familiar with buying and selling houses, and that's what I used to do many years ago. And you make your profits when you buy. Okay, it's the same in the Forex markets. You make your profits when you buy at the right price. Okay, and if the value of a property is maxed out 150,000, okay, and you're looking at a house and they want 125 grand for it, you've only got 25 grand to play with, okay, to make a profit. And if it's going to take more than 25 grand to do it, then it doesn't have the legs in it. Okay, and trading is exactly the same. Does it have the legs? Do the numbers work? Do the numbers add up? And unfortunately, like property developing, sometimes people get emotionally attached to the dream. We've bought our first investment property. Woo, unicorns and rainbows. Okay, until the reality kicks in, they go, actually, we're going to lose money on this. Okay, because they didn't look at it from a business perspective. So when you're doing trading, you've got to go with it on a purely logical basis. And the way I do it is, how can I stay out of this trade? What's putting me off? Okay, rather than having that optimism bias and saying, how can I get in this trade? Because I really want to take a trade today. And I want to go to work knowing that I've just took a winning trade and my life's turned around. Okay, it's great. Okay, but take it from a logical perspective. The market doesn't care about you or anything. Right. Again, similar sort of thing. We've got it's going down, okay, but at the same time, that's still active. This is imbalance from No, yeah, it's okay. Put that on. It's bits. Excuse me. It's bits and pieces. I don't really like it. I mean, the Wadarata is showing as low volume on there. It's the explosion line. See, ideally, in a great situation, let me just see if I can find you a good situation to be in. Something like this. No, no, not that either. This sort of thing. So you can see there that the histogram came down. The explosion line was moving away from the dead zone, and also the histogram was outside of the histogram. So even though it was only 2 bars, okay, it was still a reasonable kind of move. And if you look at what we had in terms of the move, okay, we had this nice big move coming down here. Okay, so nice. Okay, good. And that's the sort of thing we want to be looking for. And currently, right now, it's just a bit. Yeah, that's the word. So we're going to wait. So GBP are odd. Okay, that's the one that we looked at a minute ago. You can see what's happening in the markets. It's just kind of just sideways rotation. Quite wicky. Not much volume. Okay, you can see that with the explosion line came back into the dead zone and has just stayed there. Okay, it's trying to come back out again, but again, it's too near to the news to be doing anything. So let's go back to the Euro odd. So what I've got on my chart is I have the pivots, obviously the trend lines, and that's generally about it. Obviously I've got the straightforward Forex indicator, the clouds, and obviously the pivots here. Sometimes what you can do as well is if we're looking for potential take profit areas, we can use a volume profile. Okay, so this is up here, look, SVP. And what we can do, we can look at yesterday's points of control. The point of control is where the majority of the trades happened. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to see, this is the outside edges there, okay, and this red line is the point of control. Now, if you look at yesterday's point of control, if it's going to show me, there we go. Yesterday's point of control was here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a line on just there, and I'm going to go and sometimes when you're looking at price or price action, or where price could go to from this here, look, make it a bit bigger, sorry about this, trading view, well, me really. So price is there. Okay, now you're looking at it and going, where could price go to? Okay, well, we've got this area of imbalance here. So typically the top area of the imbalance is a good little profit target, because price usually, it doesn't always go through, it depends on price action, but usually price goes down to the top of the imbalance and bounces off. Okay, sometimes it can carry on going down, but we know that because we've got imbalance, the market has to mitigate this. It has to go down. Has to, okay, because this is the financial institutions leaving money on the table. Okay, so they've left 20 pips. Okay, so 20 pips of money are left on the table, so they've got to come back and collect it. And this is yesterday's POC, which again is another really good target, profit target. Okay, in the right circumstances, but again, you've got to. So let's just take that off for now. So what I like to do, I just like to keep it really simple, but if you can, usually what you can do is if you put the yesterday's POC on, sometimes it kind of matches in a similar way to the pivots, okay, because of the way it's been calculated. But again, it's all one of the things I'll say about trading, even trading the same strategy in some cases, it's like building a house. Okay, I'm using this house analogy, but it's like building a house. And if you get 3 or 4 builders together, there'll be 3 or 4, maybe even 6 different methods of how to build a house. Okay, they'll all end up with the right product, and it'll all look good. It'll be to code and everything else, but they'll all have different perspectives. And trading's the same. People have the different nuances, the different ways, the ways that have served them well, and there's no difference. And the reason what you do to get good at trading is you practice, and you do repetition, practice, back testing. Okay, and what you'll find is the more back testing that you do, the more you'll find these little patterns of commonality. And he says, just put the pivot on there. Well, look, it respected the price of the pivot. Okay, and so on and so forth. So if we look at, I don't even know where the pivots have gone here. Or you look at the points of control and you go, look at our price respected the point of control, and so you get that commonality. So you get some people who use the same strategy as me, okay, but they may not use pivots, they may use points of control, and vice versa, and it just depends on what works for you. Okay, so there are so many different ways to get the same result. Let's pivot there, look. So never get put off, because one of the things I always find with trading is it's not definitive. The actual strategy is not 100% definitive. Okay, so there are lots of different nuances. It's always evolving, and we're always looking for more efficient ways to get better entries and to take better trades. But what I always do with this, the reason I used Crossfire is because it was a strategy that I like. I enjoy it, and if you get good with one strategy and you really drill down and you start to back test it and do it as best you can, you'll get some good results. You will, I guarantee that, because you'll be familiar with the pairs and familiar with the little quirks and nuances that go on with certain strategies and certain pairs. Okay, they all seem to have their own personality. So nothing really happening right now because we're waiting for the news. Yeah, not much. Look at this, like a flat line almost. Okay, bit of a wick, tiny body. Okay, just nothing. Alright, so we'll just pause the video, or pause the training there just for a bit, just because nothing was really happening. So we're currently 6:55, so we're 5 minutes before the news. As you can see, we've just kind of sailed sideways. We've got this push down, and we've got a slight push up. And even though the Wadarattar is giving us some nice little hits on the histogram, the explosion line is still moving back towards the dead zone, and there's not really much happening here at all. So that's Euro odd. The Euro NZD, again, very similar. We're still on a slightly downward trajectory. The explosion line is coming away from the dead zone. We've got a little bit of movement on the downside, but nothing really to be particularly keen on. So that's the Euro NZD. GBP AUD. We looked at that earlier. This potential sell, which I said was no good anyway, and it wasn't, because even if we make this a bit bigger, even if we'd have got in this, okay, we'd have done from our entry to where it peaked out was 5 pips. Okay, so let's say a pip and a bit, maybe 2 pips spread this time of day. You're looking at 3 pips. It ain't worth it. Okay, and this is why some people don't like scalping, because they'll say, well, he's scalping, he's giving all your money back to the brokers, and pretty much you are giving a bit of money back to the brokers, because there was no legs in this. Okay, and that was pretty evident from the start. Right, GU or GA, well, that's what on it now. GPNZD. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so this is our trend line. Okay, we've come below a trend line, so if we'd have got in this trade, potentially we could have gone into there, yeah, maybe gone into there. But you see, what's happening right now is it's gone past the pivot line. Okay, it's still dragging its feet through the pivot, so it could bounce or break. And I'm kind of thinking it might well bounce off. But you see, look how close we are to the news. Okay, so this could be one of those classic fake outs where people get all excited and go, oh, I'm going to get in a trade for a sell, and put the stop loss up there, and then when the news kicks in, it pushes it all the way up. Okay, takes out all the stop losses that people have put in, and then will bring it back down again. Okay, and that's the thing, you never know when news kicks in, because it makes the market so unpredictable and so volatile, particularly when it's US news. But we'll see what happens. We've got what have we got to the news? 3 minutes to the news. So we were in terms of the pivot line, this was in resistance. Okay, now it's broken away, and this pivot line is going to form some kind of resistance. Okay, so it's resistance for the price coming up. That's interesting. So you see how it's just hit it? It's just wicked it just right at that pivot line. Some very strange price action going on right now, again because of the news. See how that price is now in resistance. It's got like a ceiling, okay, pushing up. Okay, now when it's pushing down, the ceiling or the floor is resistance. Okay, now when it's pushed through and it's going down, then that becomes support. Okay, but it's not. It's going back up again. Yeah, interesting. So what have we got to the news? 50 seconds. 50 seconds and we're out of coffee. It's not a good situation to be in the morning, out of your coffee. Right, so GBP AUD and GBP NZD, they're going to be the ones that react quickest, or they're going to be the ones that react to the pound. Looking at our interest rates, so if the news is favourable for the pound, then this price potentially could go up. Okay, and by the same token, if the news is not favourable for the pound, price will probably drop. Either way, we're looking at manipulation. Okay, by the banks. So the banks will just watch the price. Let's see what happens. Oh look. Now, how did that happen? Oh my God, look at this. There you go. And it's still going. So, in terms of a move, 62 pips. So 600 and, well, nearly three quarters of a million. Okay, just put in straight away, boom, straight in. Okay, on probably all the 4 pairs. So GBP AUD is gee whiz. Look at that, madness. And that is why 61. Yeah, it's the same, 62 pips. I say $750 million. It's not. It's $750 million. Sorry, $750 million. So the euro pairs haven't really reacted. Oh yeah, that one has. So the euro AUD has reacted. Euro NZD hasn't reacted, but euro AUD has, to the tune of, yeah, not much, 9 pips. 9 pips is okay, but you know, this is craziness. This, okay. And that's why we stay out of trades when it's volatile. Now potentially we could have set up a hedge, okay, whereby you go in each direction and you just you set your stop losses first, okay, so you hedge it, you go for a buy, you go for a sell, okay, but you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be really careful. And when you're just learning how to trade, okay, that is a bit more of an advanced strategy. It can work well, and also when you're doing that, you would put a trade in each direction, but also turn on your trade manager, okay, and that can be really effective. So essentially, what you would do, you would set your stop loss, okay, wherever your stop loss is going to be. I would say somewhere around here, okay. And let me just put this on. So let's say you were looking at this, okay. Your stop loss is going to be up here, okay, and we know initially we're looking for a 1 to 2, okay. That's about it, about 1 to 2, okay. So you're going to set your trade manager to do that, okay, and then you're going to say to the trade manager, by the way, if the price continues to go down, adjust my stop loss. So I'm going further and further down, okay. So your trade manager would do this, 1, something like that, 1, and it would follow the whole thing down, okay, like this, until it got to this point, okay, and it would continue it down, and you would say, okay, if it goes above 15 pips or whatever you want, okay, if it goes to there, then take me out of trade, please, okay, and it would take you out of trade, okay, and that's what we've got access to. We've got a bespoke, custom built trade manager, and you can do that. So when you get a move like this, where it's 50 or 60 pips, you can benefit from the full range of movement, okay. But again, it's a more advanced strategy. But again, the more you do it, the more back testing you do, the more you're familiar with it you get, you can do that quite easily, okay. But again, when you're first learning the strategy, just take things one step at a time. So we've had the big move, and it's now starting to recover. Like I always say, it's a bit like oh, here we go, look, there's something of a bit tasty. So well, have we got anything else going? No. So again, this is interesting, because where we are right now with the 62 moving average, and if we put we'll go long on this. Now the stop loss down here, okay, 7.4, and if we went up to here, a 1 to 2 ratio takes us below the 200 moving average. So in terms of looking at a trade, looking at a nice tasty trade, this isn't looking too bad, okay. The thing you got to bear in mind is that the explosion line, okay, is pretty much near the dead zone. It's starting to move away a little bit, okay, so you might get something out of that, but this could just be a recovery following the news, okay. But in terms of taking a trade, this looks nice. 7.5 pips of stop loss. It's just below that red trend line, so that's quite a good area to have your stop loss. And then where you take profit, if you take profit, I mean, ideally it'd be nice to take profit below the pivot line. However, the 200 moving average is also a very significant area of interest, and we're taking profit below this area, so that's quite good. But again, it could just be an adjustment for the news when you get a big. It's quite a big move out. So that 9 pips. It's not a huge move. It just looks big in comparison to all these little bits of choppiness. Right, so let's have a quick look at Euro AUD. Euro AUD, not doing a huge amount. Euro NZD, like I say, it could be a correction for the news. And also, what you got to remember is, I showed you this for the numbers. You know, talking about like the analogy I gave earlier about buying a house at the right price. These numbers work. However, what we've got here, we've got resistance with this 62 moving average. So what we'd want the candle to break above there, have some clear air between the moving average and the candle, and then see it moving to the upside. Currently it's in resistance, so it's going to bounce. It's bouncing off this 62. It may well push through, but again, where you get these areas, you just got to wait and just see what happens if it breaks through or not. If it bounces or breaks, and act accordingly. But you know, when you're taking a trade, this is the sort of thing you want to be doing with that sort of a setup. So GA. So you can see the WADR look, the explosion line. Obviously, it's moving away because we had some nice manipulation here, and that's purely all it was. So under normal circumstances, if you saw the WADR ATA doing this, okay, after it had warmed up a little bit, then you know there's there's some nice volume going on in the markets. However, we're just going to wait for now. The analogy I give, with news is like, somebody comes into a room and sets fire to it with a flamethrower. Okay, you don't want to be in that room. You want to be well away from that room when it sets on fire. And the time you want to go back in the room is once the fire's been died down. It's safe to go back in, not before. No. So GBP, NZD, very similar to AUD. Nothing really happening right now. Okay. So what we can do, we can just go and save these charts so that all the information will be on permanently. And if you want to, if you got to go to work and you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, this one's going for a buy. What you could do is you could mark up an area. Okay, if you weren't in this trade, then you could maybe look at putting an alert on something, maybe put a line on, or the parallel channel. Okay, put the parallel channel on there, set an alert, and then come and have a look at it at a different time. And that's what you want to do. But yeah, quite volatile still following that news. So what we do as well is, it's always good if you're doing this, if you've got a bit more time between 6 to 8. The strategy used to be 6 to 8, and what we noticed was that we were still taking trades later on in the morning. Okay, 9, 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock. So keep looking at the charts, and you can put the MT4 or MT5 on your phone, so you can go and trade on your phone. One thing I would say is that if you're going to trade on your phone, make sure you do the analysis first properly on a desktop. And I always ventured away from doing things on my phone because I traded once on my phone. I got the numbers wrong when I was first starting, and I'm like, right, I've got the numbers wrong, I've blown off my account, I'm not doing it on my phone anymore. Okay, but again, you get used to it. So I do a little bit of trade on my phone, but mainly on the desktop. But it's great to do. Okay, right, if you've got any questions, please drop me a comment below. If you want to reach out to me, you can do that by all means. Excuse me. And if you haven't yet seen my mini course, you can go and have a look at that. Again, it goes through all the specifics, and if you understand how the strategy works and what I'm doing and what I'm talking about, it makes it a lot easier to follow on with these sessions. So go and do that as well. So we'll monitor this for probably a few more minutes before we call it a day. But anyway, thanks for joining me this morning, and we'll talk on the next session. Bye for now.